All right, module 1.5. We're going to look for some golden prospects for a e-commerce site, Jeep parts. That's we're at 4-wheel drive or 4wd.com. This is not a client site. I can't show you my client sites. They get upset with me. But I can show you other e-commerce sites that we're not working on and give you some ideas on how we would go about building links for an e-commerce site. And one of the biggest questions that I get a lot of that I receive in my inbox when I do the live Q and A's for Link Moses private sessions is the fact that the question I get is how do you earn links to an e-commerce site? And that's what this example, in the last example, I showed you how I would do it for an online candy store. This one is pretty much going to be a little different. Each e-commerce site is different, of course. It depends on what's being sold. But on this one, this site here, it looks like they sell Jeep parts everywhere from armor and protection. Jeep armor? That's pretty cool. Well, I guess you would need it if you're going back road and then going over bumps and hitting rocks. And I guess armor would be pretty important. And I want a vehicle with armor. I didn't know they had armor for these things. I want one now. But anyway, these Jeeps, they winches and towing systems and lift kits and electrical. They have just about anything a Jeep owner would need. Now, how do you earn links to a site like this? What would the typical SEO agency do to earn links to a site like this? Yeah, they would create a link bait piece, top 25 Jeep models ever, or the history of the Jeep, or whatever it is, whatever the infographic is, top 10 of the best Jeeps of history, or whatever. There would be an infographic or some type of link bait that would be placed on this site, and then the SEO company would go about earning links from bloggers to link over to that link bait in the hopes that those links are going to influence Google to give their e-commerce site more traffic. And I call that a fool's dream. It doesn't always work that way. There's much better ways to go about earning links to e-commerce sites. And this example here is something I learned straight from Eric Ward. And when I went to him with a client, a similar type of client as this site here, uh, he was trying to, I hired him for a consultation. I said, how can I get links to this site? And he goes, well, let's look. And I'm going to do what he did for me. Now, given that Jeeps are really popular, I look at Jeep clubs. That's where Eric took me. He did a search for Jeep clubs. And you can find all kinds of Jeep clubs. In fact, there's another one. Pull up just a couple. All right. Welcome to Wicked Jeeps of Michigan. Now, what is this club? This is a Shepherd site. Why? Because Jeep Club members, they're the people that visit this site, the members of this site are Jeep owners. So if I owned this Jeep Club here, this Jeep parts site, I would definitely want a relationship with the shepherd of this site. It would just make good business sense. And more importantly, not more importantly, but I would want that relationship with that shepherd. And then I would start working to build that relationship with them. And I keep wanting to jump ahead into the modules and start showing you where your link opportunities are on a site like this. But for now, what I would do for an e-commerce site such as this Jeep part is I would just grab as all the Jeep Club sites that I could find. And then I would count that as my golden prospects. And Eric blew my mind. And that one seemed, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'll get links from the Jeep clubs, and that's what's going to help my rankings. And that was my mindset because when I first hired Eric and I first started working with him, it was to hire him to get help with the algorithm. But he didn't help me with that at all. He helped me with business development, and that's what was so awesome. So I said, okay, That makes sense. Targeting owners of Jeep clubs, and there's a lot of them, and there's probably 1,000 of them. So that's quite a wide array of link prospects. So now what I'll do is, well, I won't go to this site. Let me go to Facebook, and let me put in Jeep clubs. This is what blew my mind with Eric. He goes, look at all the Jeep clubs that you find Jeep porn. We won't go to Jeep porn, even though it's probably cool. But let's just go to this group right here. All right, they have, what did it say? 3,000 members. All of them Jeep owners, I imagine. Now, how many of those Jeep owners are in need of parts right now? Or any of these parts? A good chance, a good percentage of them. So, what's the deal here? Well, we have to learn a couple of things. Is first of all, we join the group on Facebook, and then we start participating in the group a little bit. Then we reach out to the admin of the group, and this was all Eric Ward. I can't take credit for this. And said, listen, your group is great. There's not too many people who can pull off getting a group going like this, and you did it. Kudos for that. Uh, I'm going to be straight up with you. We provide Jeep accessories. We're with 4wd.com. And I'm going to tell you, I'd love to build a relationship up with you and your members because I love what you're doing. What's the first step to doing that? And so it's just a simple reach out to them, and you're asking their help instead of figuring a way out and then trying to push your way on them. You're just reaching out and say, listen, yeah, we provide Jeep accessories. We would like to get to know your group a little better. And there was no link involved with that. But it was such common sense that, of course, you would go after shepherds that had the sheep that you were targeting in your own website. So, will this earn a link going after Facebook groups? Not at all. Well, they might. It might earn you a link from, say, if they do have a website involved too. But for the most part, it's a business. Let's find another one. Let's go to this one. And a lot of the times you can find who the admin is. Right here. So I know that these are the admins, and that means one of these admins, Gene, Tommy, and two others, Austin and Chad. That means one of them are the owners of the group, or they're the founder. And so I would have to build a relationship up with either Gene. Let's check, see if we can find Gene. Look at, there's Gene right there. How can I not build a relationship up with Gene if he has a club with 2,000 Jeep members? As link builders, we get our mindset stuck on building links rather than relationships. Well, what could Gene do for me? Because Gene has none whatsoever. Gene has no links. He has no website. How could he help me out? Well, he has access to 2,000 Jeep owners. That's how. And maybe he will have a website down the road. Then you'll get your link. But if you get Gene's endorsement to his group about your parts, well, guess what? You're going to make some sales. And then if you look at all the different clubs that are on Facebook, you're going to find that it's almost an evergreen source of golden prospects and traffic opportunities because new clubs are always coming on board. And that was all Eric Ward's doing because it was just the whole mindset, just the light bulb came on and said, wait a minute, I can't take this back to my client. How is that going to get me links? And he goes, it's not about links. It's about money. It's about revenue. And you build links to get the revenue. Just go straight for the revenue. Bypass the links. And if they have a website, you can get the links too. That way you can get love from Google and the referral traffic. So that's how I would build links for a Jeep parts site and build relationships. I would hit the clubs that have sites like Wicked Jeeps Michigan, And I would also, once I was done with that, I would hit the Facebook groups. And what would you tell? And you reach out and ask for help, and what's the next step? You ask the admin, what's the next step to me helping you out, and to introducing myself to the group. They may say, well, you could become a sponsor, or they, oh, no big deal. I'll throw a link up today. I'll throw a shout out. So a lot of times that's happening. And if you're constantly doing that, let's say if you grab 100 Jeep Club owners and you're doing that all month long, how many new links will you get that way? How much more referral traffic will your website get? I'm guessing quite a bit. So that's how I would build links, golden prospects rather, for a Jeep e-commerce site. And I'll do another example of a different e-commerce site. That way it'll give you an idea how I would go about that, because there's always angles like this you can use with e-commerce sites. There's always angles. You just have to find them. So let's get into another module.